Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
What's up, everybody? It's Big Al. It's the Professor. It's Around the Turnbuckle. Tuesday night, hot topics. And as the Professor admitted to me earlier today, there really isn't much going on this week, so we're just gonna fly by the seat of our pants. How you doing, Professor?
I'm doing okay. I think I'm mostly recovered from our Saturday show. Seven Valleys is always one of my favorite shows, but obviously there's a lot of logistical stuff for me coming out from Jersey. And I really immerse myself in what we're doing out there with the SWO because there's so much going on there, and it's such a great learning experience because I feel like even though it's a promotion that's been around for coming up on 23 years now, it's a new management, it's new ideas, and it's really about building something now and building the new identity of what that's going to be. And of course, Al, we don't have the greatest workplace safety right now because we got some psycho in a mask running around attacking people.
That's absolutely true. And the identity of said person is yet to be revealed. And I know that there are several interested parties in the locker room, top of the list of which are the three people that have been attacked, at one point or another. So, yes, and that was the big question on everybody's mind. The fans who came up to me during intermission or after the show, who is that guy? Or maybe they had an idea. Maybe they threw some names at me and they said, and I'm like, I don't know who it is. I have no clue. So
investigations are ongoing. I know Zach Carlucci has promised one. SW owner Zach Carlucci. Kimberly Spirit, we know, is taking on an independent investigation of her own.
Beyond the case.
Yeah, so I mean,
Marshall Moore might be interested.
Marshall's certainly interested. He's certainly saying he's interested, but
Professor, somebody actually said that was you, right? Like you had that body frame, and
I was acute. And number one, I mean, thank you for acknowledging my weight loss. I mean, look, let's throw it out there, guys. I was a lot heavier than I should be for a while now. If you've watched the show for a while, you know that. Had some health issues, health scares. I've really been trying to work on that. I'm down about 30 pounds in the last 6 months or so.
Awesome.
I'm right around where I was in high school, so we're going to try to keep it that way.
I need to catch up to you, to be honest with
you. For me, it's just cutting out sugar. Honest to God, a lot of it was cutting out sugar, and I make it a point to have a nice long walk every day. Hey, okay. Chris, how's it going?
So, as you see scrolling on the bottom of the screen there, program note, there are no shows next week. There are no shows. There is no Around the Turnbuckle on Sunday because I didn't feel it fair to book somebody. The Professor and I don't mind doing shows. We love doing these shows, but we didn't want to bother anybody on Memorial Day weekend. That should be with your families, and I hope everybody has a safe and happy Memorial Day weekend. And then next Tuesday just happens to be the day after Memorial Day, and it's a long weekend for a lot of people, and including me, where I'm going to start to get orientated into my new job. So I'm going to actually have off on Memorial Day, and I will be returning to work the very next day. So doing Around the Turnbuckle Tuesday night, I didn't know if I'd make it. So I just said, how the hell with it. We'll skip next week. But breaking news, Professor. Breaking news. That we will return on Sunday, June the 2nd with Dino Sana.
Which is great because, I mean, Dino obviously has been in this business forever. If you've ever listened to our prior 2 interviews with Dino,
44 years.
Yeah, you know that you get a hell of a history lesson. I learned stuff. I learned things that, for a wrestling history nerd like me are amazing. Of course, I've still gone out and I tell people Dino's story of hearing from Bruno Sammartino firsthand of what the breaking point between Bruno and the WWF actually was. You know, he always
Right.
said it was the steroids, but the real story is a hell of a lot darker, a hell of a lot more personal. I'm not telling it here. Go back in the archive and listen to the interview, and
Absolutely.
you can hear it too.
Yeah, we've interviewed Dino 3 times, and it's been about a once a year thing right around the anniversary show. And if you guys don't know, the 3WA anniversary show is this Saturday. It is this Saturday in Quakertown, and they've already announced some matches. You can check them out on the 3WA Facebook page. They've already announced some matches for the event. And
so far, we know
around and guys, let me be clear. It is their WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is the one. It is the big event of the year, and they try to get many different people, not just the normal regular stars you see in 3WA. Sometimes they get some blasts from the past. Sometimes they bring in some new people, or a combination of both. And Dino Sana is usually interviewed by us right around that time. Sometimes it's right before the event. Sometimes it's right after the event. Dino specifically asked for after the event. That'd be Sunday, June 2nd. And I will have, my wife is working on a promo flyer for that. And literally he wants me to call it Dino Sana No Holds Barred. He wants it to be different. He wants it to be a different kind of interview. He's got some things on his mind. And also we are allowed to ask him anything that we might not have asked him before.
Well, let's also please be respectful in the comments and everything. If we're gonna,
well, he meant me, you, and me. He didn't meant the general public.
All right, I'm just saying. I want the general public to ask questions, but obviously, be respectful. Dino's an older gentleman. He's an elder statesman of this business. Let's be respectful of the opportunity we're being given.
Okay, so that's next Sunday, but again. I mean, not next Sunday, but the one after that.
Right.
Not this coming Sunday, but the one after that. Sunday, June 2nd. Enjoy your holiday, everybody. But this Saturday is the anniversary show, but it's also WWE King and Queen of the Ring.
Yeah, we know the Raw side. We know the Raw side out of last night. The SmackDown side yet to be determined.
And that'll be determined this Friday on SmackDown.
Yep. Well, you can't hate either the men's or the women's, right? Can't hate
what was that again?
You can't hate the decision on the men's or the women's side, right?
No.
How can you argue with it? How can you?
You can't. But yeah, go ahead. What do you think?
If I have my druthers, obviously it's Gunther.
Sure.
I'm high on Ilya Valkyria as well. I've been high on her since NXT UK. But let's see what the SmackDown side looks like, because maybe there I could be convinced. Right. But I don't think if you put Walter, Gunther now. I
Walter, Walter. Yes.
If you put Gunther in anything,
until they found out Gunther was a famous U-boat captain, they want to backtrack.
That's why he doesn't have the last name anymore. That's why he's just Gunther. And by the way, in the age of fucking Google, how do you fuck that up?
I don't know.
How?
I don't know.
So anyway, without putting, darker suspicions on that or anything, when you put that athlete, when you put Gunther in line for any kind of award or title or whatever, to my mind, he either has to get it or you have to come up with a really good fucking reason for him to not get it and protect him in not getting it. Because if you don't look at that guy as a franchise player for a long time in the future, frankly, you don't understand wrestling. And as CM Punk said, we're looking at different businesses and we're in different businesses right now.
Absolutely. He's like, he has that vibe of like a Killer Kowalski, right? Like a just big, tough, bruising, will impose his will on people. That's why he's had success. Plus the fact that he gets the business, and he's had some incredible matches
Oh yeah.
over that Intercontinental Championship run. But then he also, he's got more to come. I know
Oh yeah.
I think he's just getting started,
If
and
he's
I
not,
think that
if
he's
he's
going to
not
be
a
one of the
world,
major.
if he's not a world champion in the next 2 years, I will lose faith in Triple H as a booker, and I know it will happen because Triple H is that smart. I'm going to go even further. I'm going to say he's a guy that is in the Lou Thez mold. I think he could be a modern day
Okay.
Lou Thez. Because even if he's not legitimate, and I do believe he is legitimate from what I know from his background, even if he's not legitimate, you believe he's legitimate. He sells that he's legitimate.
So who do you think his opponent's going to be in the finals, or do we know that already?
We
No,
don't
we
know
don't know
that.
that.
We're going to know that on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get a list real quick of who's still.
Well, I have it. I have it
Oh,
here.
beautiful. Give me it.
All right. So it has the. I'm sorry, I don't have it. What it has is the card. I have the card here, but it doesn't announce the. It just says the King of the Ring finals and the Queen of the Ring finals.
Do you have
And then
anything in terms of the bracketing? I might real quick go on Google and try to get it if you want to filibuster.
okay, yeah, that. Yeah, I'll filibuster. So you at King of the Ring in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Again, there's a time difference there, guys. So look and see at your times for Peacock. I believe it starts in the morning. I want to say 9 a.m., but I'm not sure about that. And Cody Rhodes will defend the undisputed WWE Championship against Logan Paul. It's champion versus champion, but it's not for the U.S. title. Logan Paul pulled a fast one and with his lawyers and made sure that it was only for Cody's title, which makes sense to us because we don't. I don't think we want Logan Paul to lose the United States title at this point. And then Becky Lynch, the women's world champion, will defend her title against Liv Morgan. And also Sami Zayn will defend the Intercontinental Championship in a triple threat match with Bronson Reed and Chad Gable. That's pretty much all they have really much listed other than the Queen and the King of the Ring finals.
Okay, so I've got our semifinals. So for Queen of the Ring, and this will be on SmackDown, so we're going to be determining our finals. We have Bianca Belair versus Nia Jax.
Okay.
And
the winner of that will take on.
Well, let me go down everything. So
okay.
I was gonna predict, but yeah, you're right. Let's get the full card and then let's adjust from there. Mm-hmm. So that's for our first Queen of the Ring semifinal. For our next King of the Ring semifinal, we've got Randy Orton versus Tama Tonga.
Okay, I got you. So you're probably looking at a Gunther versus Randy Orton final, my opinion.
That's what I would do. I would maybe do some fuckery. I would try to get Tama protected somehow because obviously you need to keep building. You need to keep establishing.
Yeah, and you know how how the Saudis. So you know how the Saudis really like.
But also too, it's not just for the Saudis. If I want Gunther to go over, which I do want Gunther to go over. I want Gunther to go over the best possible opponent he can go over. And going over Randy Orton is going to mean a fuck of a lot more than going over Tama Tonga, which again, I'm not trying to shit on Tama Tonga when I say that. It's just I always
He's new.
What do I always say, right? There's what the indie internet connected fan understands, and then there's what the mainstream understands. For the indie internet connected fan, you might say, well, goddamn, Tama means more. Okay, but by what a mainstream audience is going to go, holy shit, I got to take notice of this guy. It's going to be Randy, right? It has to be Randy. So I would
say Randy versus Gunther. So do you think Bianca beats Nia Jax?
Yeah, I think I want Bianca to beat Nia Jax because then I can call a 50. Then it's a margin call. And it's harder to call whether or not you give it to Bianca to keep her strong or you put, Ilya over her to get Ilya more of that rub.
Right.
It gives me what I like, which is that I can argue either way and probably not be mad at whatever the finish is. So I'm gonna go Bianca over Nia. But I'm gonna try to keep ways to keep Nia credible.
Is Ilya a face? Is she a face?
I believe she is.
Then I could see them having Nia win so that she could beat Nia. Then, like, not that that's a worse rub, because I understand if she beats Bianca Belair, it's a bigger win. She's a former ladies champion, women's champion. She's a current tag team champion, like all these things. But she's a much bigger star than Nia Jax.
And she's
Let's
one of
be
the
honest.
For the women's division. Nia isn't.
Right, but
Bianca is beating a
I
Charlotte.
could see them not. I could see them not doing that, though. I could see them not doing that, and maybe having the ladies tag team champions defend their titles or something.
I don't know, because again, it's Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia doesn't want a lot of the ladies empowerment stuff. So I wouldn't be shocked. I don't know it for a fact, but I wouldn't be shocked if there's a limit on how many ladies matches they can put on for these shows.
So you already have two. You have the finals and you have the women's championship match.
Right. So if it was me, I don't defend the ladies tag titles. I put Bianca in that match, because then I can either put Ilya over Bianca to try to see if I can make another headlining lady.
Yeah.
Or I can do a fighting spirit, because I don't do a fuck, because it's babyface versus babyface. You don't really want to fuck in a situation like that.
Right.
So I can do a fighting spirit where Ilya loses, but you believe in her and she's elevated by giving Bianca that really good, tough fight. Think Jerry Lynn, Rob Van Dam, or anything you've seen. If you know what I'm talking about with a fighting spirit.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
So I like that match better, because I always like options. If I was booking it, I would want to give myself more than one definitive way to do it.
Okay. So let's predict the champion, the other matches on the card. Let's predict the championship matches, starting with the Intercontinental. Do you think Sami Zayn retains in that triple threat, or do you think Chad Gable there, or what?
I think in some ways it might. No, you know what? Because I would say it would be too early to take it off Sammy. But if it's a triple threat, you can have Chad pin the other guy. You can have Otis, because you already established yesterday the Otis saying he's sorry and Sammy going, no, I trust you. I know you're a good guy. So you can have Otis be a dick and be like, nope, at the end of the day, I'm Chad Gable's man. Screw Sammy. You can have a fuck in this one. You do the fuck. You get the belt on Chad. Now we get to come back with Sammy. Chad deserves a belt. Chad deserves a chance. Jesus Christ, how good he's fucking been, and how fucking bad some of the stuff he's had to do. And he's still done it, and he's still put his heart and soul in it.
Yep.
So I look at him as a guy where it's like, A, he deserves a fucking shot. He deserves a fucking belt for going through all of that. So you've got like the lifetime achievement sort of situation. But
going through all the silliness and all that.
It's not a lifetime achievement, because he can fucking go and he can do something for you right now. So you have this interesting situation where both of those things intersect and meet, right? Mm-hmm. I do a fuck and I put it on Chad.
Well,
I was going to say Chad Gable for a minute, and then I looked at it and I'm like, no, this is the perfect opportunity to do a fuck, put it on Chad, and I can get the feud even hotter and move on with it.
The thing about Chad Gable is, over the past 3 years, he's had some really good matches with many different opponents that nobody remembers. The reason why
his character work has been phenomenal,
because it's overshadowed by all the fucking crazy bullshit he's had to go through. The shush, the American Academy, like all the Academy, all that crap. The gimmick has overshadowed his work.
Yeah,
Is my
but the point is, right, because that's always the argument you and I make as older school people. The work really doesn't matter as much. It is about the silliness, it is about the gaga, it is about the character, it is about the gimmick, it is about that ability to make a connection. He's made a connection. He's kind of, eaten his shit, paid his dues, done the work.
Yeah.
Now it's time to really give him the ball to a degree and see what he does with it. And I think this is a perfect situation. Like I say, do a fuck, and then we've got an even hotter feud. And let's see what we've got. Because if Chad Gable can't get it done in a feud with Sami Zayn to elevate himself, then you know what Chad Gable is. He's a strong hand, and we're not going to waste any more time trying to make him something. Because if you can't get it done with Sami Zayn, you just can't get it done.
Right. All right. Well, that's that. Okay, so how about the Women's World Championship? Liv Morgan is the challenger, and the champion is Becky Lynch. But how the circumstances that Becky Lynch got the championship was, she lost at WrestleMania to Rhea Ripley, but Rhea Ripley gets hurt, so they had to kind of find a way to get the belt on Becky Lynch, and they did that. So now she's the champion. Does this championship reign, is it a little bit diminished by the manner that she got the title based on the fact that Rhea Ripley's hurt?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You put it on Becky because you can trust Becky. Becky's a franchise of the women's division, right? If you look at the pillars of the women's division right now, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair. Those are your dependable. And Rhea Ripley, but Rhea's hurt.
Well, so Charlotte.
Yeah, so Charlotte. But I mean, those four are the ones you can always go to now, and the fans will be able to say, yeah, I believe them as a champion.
Yeah.
I mean, Charlotte's got stank on her because they obviously overpushed her with that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But Becky doesn't have that stank yet. And I think the fans also understand too.
Would you throw Bayley in there too?
I think Bayley is close. I think by the time she's done with this title reign, Bayley will get there. I love Bayley.
I always have.
I've said it to you. I'll say it now publicly. The only time that I've ever watched a wrestling match, gotten to the finish, and cried, and I cry repeatedly. Every time I see it, I cry, is Bayley in NXT when she wins the NXT Women's Championship
for the first
against
time.
Sasha Banks that first time.
Yes.
That was poetry in the ring, and that was what this business is about. So, but I think on the main roster, Bayley hasn't been that yet. I think this run will do that. So I think Bayley will get there. But I'm looking at the landscape today. I just think Bayley is still a notch below those other four. But she will get there, and you will have 5 by the end of it. But I think here, what I would do, again, I would probably do a fuck of some kind, and I would get the belt over to Liv, and I would let Liv hold it until Rhea comes back. Because
the revenge tour,
the money is in Liv Rhea, and Liv has been so big on the revenge tour and all of that stuff.
Right.
I think the heat and the money and all of that is in Liv getting the belt back, but if Liv gets the belt back with some kind of a fuck, not an egregious fuck, maybe a slight fuck, you're gonna have money there all day.
Yeah, and Liv, Becky Lynch was supposed to go home after Mania and spend time with her family and spend time with Seth recovering from his knee surgery and all that stuff. Right. So to me, that's, if you put the belt on Liv one way or another, then that lets Becky go back home and take her.
We do a fuck with an injury then, right? Do a fuck with an injury.
Yeah.
Get it
so
on
she goes
Liv.
away.
more heat on Liv because now Becky's out. Yeah.
Mhm.
Fuck injury, massive heat. Do that.
Yep. All right. So then we have the undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes is defending against Logan Paul, which I think is going to be a great match. And I
do
love,
too,
love,
easily.
and I love that they found a fucking way to not make it title for title.
Don't as much. Because if it
You
was
wanted it title for
title,
title? You wanted it title for title?
there were things you could do with it being title for title. I mean, obviously you need to do a non-finish. Obviously,
Yeah,
there
but
has
this way
to
you
be
can
some
do a
kind of
finish.
non-finish. This way you can do a finish, but I think the money is in the guy that shuts Logan Paul up. Now you can do Cody beats Logan Paul, but then Cody is kind of the guy that shuts Logan Paul up. So now it's harder to go back to the guy that, I mean, and maybe this works similar, and Triple H is smart enough to do it, right? Because he did it with Roman Reigns, where he
Right.
didn't tie the beating Roman by, say, pinfall to beating Roman for the title, right? He gave Jay
Right.
the pinfall, and then he gave Cody the title, and nobody got mad or felt like Cody was diminished
Right.
by he didn't get the pinfall on top of the title.
Right.
So maybe this becomes a case of Cody is the first to beat him, and then a little further down the line, whoever takes the title, as long as the stage is big enough, a SummerSlam, a Royal Rumble, a WrestleMania, something like that. I mean, I love Survivor Series personally, but let's face it, Survivor Series is the minimal stage of the big four right now. I think the War Games is helping bring it back, but I don't know it's entirely there yet.
Yeah.
I think you could do that, but yeah, I think I talked myself into it. I kind of like doing this shit, like stream of consciousness, because I talk myself into things that I didn't believe before. So yeah, you're probably right. It is probably better because now we split two things up, which is usually better than trying to front load everything into one, because then you only get 1 star versus you can get 2 stars. And you do need to make Cody shiny as hell, because they are trying to make Cody that franchise babyface right now.
Yeah.
Without doing, the horrible latter day tricks of Vince where it's like a John Cena, where it's like, now he's a Superman now. He'll just find a different level of Super Saiyan and destroy everyone.
I still think that he keeps the championship until Mania 41. That's my opinion. I mean, the soonest he'll lose it is Royal Rumble 2025.
You don't think they could find a SummerSlam opponent for him?
That quick, though? I mean, doesn't it? I'm not saying he needs to have it a long time. What I'm saying is he doesn't need to have it 3 months. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you're talking about Cody. I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about Logan Paul.
Cody Rhodes.
Oh, yeah, no. Cody,
Oh, no. Logan?
Oh, Cody needs to go long. Cody needs to go long.
Yeah.
Yes. Logan Paul, I could see beating him at SummerSlam if you have the right guy.
But you gotta build somebody up to that. The guy who shuts him up, like you said, the guy who shuts him up by taking his title has to be a Braun Breaker or somebody like that.
Right. Yeah, I'm not saying it has to be SummerSlam as a deadline. I'm saying though, if I had somebody ready and it made sense,
or LA Knight,
yeah. Oh, I think LA Knight would be a great candidate for that. I really do.
Sure.
I would like.
They
LA
already
crossed
paths in the back. There was a segment where LA Knight and him crossed paths in the back.
I would like LA Knight for that more than I would like Braun Breaker right now. I can make Braun Breaker other ways.
Braun Breaker on Raw in the back called out all the champions. He goes, whether you like it or not, I'm coming. And I'm talking directly to you, Damian Priest. And I'm talking directly to you, Cody Rhodes. He didn't even mention the mid-card guys. he said, he mentioned the heavyweight champions by name.
Yeah, but do you want him going through the mid? I don't think he needs to go through the mid card.
No. He doesn't need it now, but I like the hungriness of his promos.
I mean, he's a fucking Steiner, right? He's a fucking Steiner. That is a level of legitimacy that a lot of guys don't have.
No.
And he has definitely carried the best aspects of his dad and his uncle so far.
Yeah.
So I look at him as a guy that it's like, yeah, I'd probably just catapult him to the main event. I just shine him up now like they are and use that to just be like, yeah, he's just going straight to the main event.
You have him win the Rumble? Say you have him win the Rumble?
Yeah, I don't need to worry about him as an Intercontinental or a U.S. champion. I would say
I agree with that.
Somebody that needs those a little bit more.
I agree with that. All right, you wanted to mention Tiffany Stratton. So this is what I know, okay? Tiffany Stratton gets brought up to the main roster, and she gets thrown right into the main event championship matches with like Bailey and things like that. So
yeah,
right away they're trying to shine her up, make her one of the top ladies in the main roster, right?
Yeah, because she has it,
and she has a lot of great things. She's got talent. She's good on the mic. She's good in the ring. She's excellent in the ring. She could work with anybody. These are a lot of good qualities to have when you want to be a big star in WWE. But then, time and time again, we have these things fucking happen on social media where, you're like, why or where or how did this happen? Or is it, a lot of times you don't even know if it's a fan that just doesn't necessarily like her and takes a video and makes a clip out of it or something like that. You don't even know. So there was this viral clip where she called Jade Cargill a BLCK bitch.
Well, I think it's a case of she said it. There's no doubt that she said it. But what has happened is unscrupulous journalists in the wrestling business that should know better, one of them with a reputation where he should know better, who then it filters out, right? Because I honestly, in my opinion, there's only one group of journalists in wrestling that to me have shown conspicuous ethics, unimpeachable ability, because you know what? They admit when they're fucking wrong and they try to source their shit so they don't have to do that. And that's the guys over at PW Insider, Dave Scher and Mike Johnson. Because I know from following them for, God, almost the last 20 years, what their level of integrity is. And
they deal in facts, not rumors.
Right. And frankly, I'm just going to say it and come after me. Dave Meltzer has an agenda at this point. Dave Meltzer is the one that is principally trying to turn this into a crisis and trying to say that there is heat on her, or there should be heat on her, or whatever. And everything I'm hearing out of PW Insider camp and anybody that's legitimate is there is no heat. She has admitted maybe it was a bad word choice. Maybe it wasn't the best idea. We've all made mistakes.
Right.
We've all done or said things that maybe are not a good idea in this business. If you're a worker, frankly, you've fucking done that. And we're not dealing in a business of good taste. And certainly I have heard things off mic in the locker room or hanging out at the bar after the fact that if we were to put that out in public, I can certainly think of an instance that happened this weekend. And you know what I'm talking about, Al? Where I was out with some workers and we were at the bar and we were unwinding after the show and we were talking about different things. And if those things were said publicly, where I were to put them out there, people would not be happy.
Right.
Now, were we doing it to be malicious? No.
No.
Were we doing it to hurt anyone's feelings? No. We were joking around. It was not an appropriate joke, to be sure, but it was jokes among friends that
Right.
should stay jokes among friends that don't
Right.
need to be said to the wider world. But obviously, this is not that. This is a case of perhaps trying to get heat that went wrong. And if you truly understand the business, I think you have to put these things in context. And that's certainly something I'm always going to try to do as long as we're doing this particular show or any particular show, that you have to understand that it's not always going to be politically correct and a politically incorrect business. And it is about pushing the envelope sometimes. It is about eliciting very visceral, personal reactions. And maybe you're not always going to do that in the right fucking way. But if everybody in the back, if everybody in management and whatnot says, yeah, no heat, no problem, no whatever, then it's done. It's a non-story. And if you're going to try to claim that you're a wrestling journalist and you're going to try to make it a story because you have a bias or you have an agenda or you want somebody to not do well in this business, then frankly, fuck you. You're not a wrestling journalist and you need to hand the card in. Not that there is a press card. I think there should be, frankly. I think the bar should be a hell of a lot higher than it is. But frankly, you should fuck off and stop doing it then.
Absolutely, yes. One thing I do know is that, the video is taken down, not only by Tiffany's people, but by WWE and things like that. She has no, heat, as you said, with the company. They're still behind her. People took the story of this happened and her exit from the Queen of the Ring tournament coincidentally the same week as that's the reason why they pulled her out.
And look, maybe it is to a degree, but not a punishment thing. Maybe it's just an optics thing because look, they're run by an entertainment company now. They're run by a very powerful, very well-respected entertainment company. And I can certainly understand from an optics perspective, pulling her aside and saying, hey, no heat, but from an optics perspective, this was out there. You've got to lose this. We're going to come back and fix things later. And certainly the head of creative right now, head booker, whatever you want to call him, Triple H, certainly knows a thing or two about somebody pulling him aside and saying, look, you're losing this opportunity, but stick with us. You'll get a new opportunity later. And let's see what you can do with it. Curtain call, right?
Yes. Tiffany is going to be fine out of this. Yeah. She didn't need to be Queen of the Ring right now. She just came up to the main roster. I hate this idea if you don't come up from the main roster from NXT and you don't get a championship in the first month you're there, you're buried. I hate that idea. You're building.
Stupid.
A lot of people feel that way. Oh, they're burying her. She's out of the Queen of the Ring tournament already. They're burying her.
People need to get away from the idea that it's the old regime in that company. It's not. If you come up to the main roster and you're losing like your first, say, 5 matches straight, yeah, you're fucked. They clearly don't.
It's like Carmelo Hayes. All right, Carmelo Hayes was brought up from the NXT roster. He's in the King of the Ring tournament. He doesn't make it out of the first round, if I'm correct, and automatically up. They're burying Carmelo Hayes. He was one of the best NXT champions, and they're burying Carmelo Hayes. It doesn't mean that, man. You got to give him some time. You know?
If he wrestles,
give him a year. Talk to me in a year if they're still burying. Okay, I'll agree with you. If this time next year Carmelo Hayes is nothing.
Yeah,
okay.
I won't give him that long, but it's like if you come up,
I'll give you a year.
And they put you and your wrestling matches that don't mean anything and you're getting beat. Or your wrestling matches for opportunities and you're getting beat and you're not getting hope spots, you're not getting fighting spirit finishes, you're just getting beat for the sake of getting beat. You're fucked. You probably should start looking at other options because clearly they don't see anything in you.
Yep. Okay, so my next question to you is, where the hell has Saraya been? aka Paige. Do you remember a time or two ago when you and I were really into Paige when Paige was
She
in
was
WWE
a
and
revelation when
right,
she came in.
absolutely. And then she goes she's injured for a while. Doctors tell her she probably might not ever wrestle again. She has the next fusion surgery, all that cool stuff.
Mhm.
Then she gets rehab.
And
Then she gets the right doctors.
all of it.
And the next thing you know, right, she's still 31. She's still only 31 years old right now as we speak. Okay? And the woman's been wrestling for over 15 years.
I know, and there's a deeper conversation to be had about that, which probably we don't have the forum for today.
Yeah.
But certainly there's a deeper conversation to be had, and I'll just leave it at the idea of there is a point where there is too young to get into this business and do what you need to do in this business. Your body is developing to a degree at the point when she got in. And I'm going to leave it there. And I think intelligent people can sort of parse out what I'm saying there, because I know we have another question from the audience.
We will. We're gonna get to Chris. Chris, don't go anywhere. We're gonna get to your question.
Yeah, we will.
Where I was going with this,
through this and not be.
Where I was going with this is, I'm talking about her AEW run.
You're right.
She goes to AEW. She becomes the women's champion, I think, within a few months against Dr. Britt Baker.
Yep.
And then loses that championship, and then it has changed hands several times between now and then. But I'm not even talking about that. So about 6 months ago, maybe longer, maybe 9 months ago, she's just gone. She's no longer on TV. And the reason we're given, if you look it up, is an undisclosed injury.
Right.
So in other words, either AEW or Saraya doesn't want you to know what that injury is. We're not told whether or not she's ever going to wrestle again, because when you ask that question, they're not sure. That's the answer Tony gives.
Yep.
And then if you dig deeper, which I did today because I wanted to bring this up, there's TV shows in the works where she's auditioning for now. So now she's maybe doing some TV shows, whether it be on Netflix or Hulu or one of those things. She's gonna show up. You're gonna be watching TV one day and say, "Holy shit, that's Saraya," because she's auditioning for several parts in television shows, the ones that go straight to the streaming services. So my question to you is, do you think Saraya will ever wrestle again? And does she really have to?
She doesn't have to. Do I think she will? Maybe. I don't think she should.
Yeah.
Because here's what I think happened. This is purely my opinion. So if AEW's lawyers or anybody else looks into this, I'm going to be very careful in how I word this. I don't think AEW uses the best standards I don't think AEW has a wellness policy. I don't think AEW has the oversight that WWE does. No, I think AEW trusts the workers more than they should. I think AEW enables certain bad behaviors. I think that's self-evident from their product.
Yes.
I think Saraya is ultimately responsible for her decision to get back into the ring. I believe that was Saraya's decision. I believe Saraya represented certain things to AEW about her fitness to get back into the ring. They may or may not have been 100% accurate. And I think AEW is potentially covering their ass.
Probably.
But
they're still paying her.
Fact. Well, if she has a contract, and it depends on what the contract says, right? If it's guaranteed money, you got to pay the guaranteed money.
Yeah.
That's how this works.
Yeah.
If you guarantee money, you got to pay that guaranteed money.
It expires December. Listen, I looked this up today. It expires December of 2025.
Okay, so
Not this December,
she's got a
next
little more
December.
than a year.
So she's got a year and a half to sit at home and do nothing because Tony pays people to sit at home and do nothing.
But
it annoys me.
You know what? But let's be fair. WWE does to a degree too, and has for a long time.
Well,
and I don't hate that the way some people hate that, because I look at it as fuckers got to pay the bills. You got to feed your family. I know that there was certainly
not millions of dollars though. Okay, pay her a salary.
Maybe
why are you paying her millions of dollars?
Not knowing that I don't know what she makes. I have an idea. Because as I've said before on different platforms, I have friends of friends, so I know what certain mid-level AEW talents made. A number was quoted.
Well, Rio makes $400,000.
Why I wasn't gonna go into the exact.
Well, I'm just saying, if Rio makes $400,000, you don't think that they value Paige? Paige is a bigger name than Rio. Sorry, it's true.
I'm sure Paige is in the six figures, the mid to high six figures. I'm sure she makes at least double what Rio does.
Okay.
If you had a gun,
I'd say closer to $1 million.
If you had a gun to my head and you said, "What do you think her ballpark is?" That's what I would say. We are talking about millions with Paige, because I know that they will pay mid card even, the mid 20s to 30s.
Yeah,
and sometimes even as close to the mid 100Ks. Tony has a very inflated sense of what to pay people. And look, that's his right. It's his money. It's his dad's money. It's their checkbook. They can do what the fuck they want with it. And I'm all for the workers going out there and get what the fuck you can get. Don't be an asshole about it to where you destroy the promotion. But if at the same time, I go back to what George Carlin said once about, no man ever said stop sucking my dick. And it's a similar thing here, right? If somebody's going to come to you and represent to you that I can pay you this life-changing money, and you're a starving fucking artist on the indies, and I know from reading and now to a degree from working on the indies, I know how fucking bad that can be. I know how fucking difficult that can be, trying to balance wanting to go out and make shots, having to have a shoot job during the week or whatever, having to go from a show, and then you have to drive back and you have to go to your shoot job the next day and still perform and all of that shit. So if that person is told, I will give you six figures, you can quit the shoot job, you can do this full time, that's fucking hard to say no to, and I don't think you necessarily would say no to it.
No.
It's not your job to police the promoter. The promoter should be able to police himself. I think there's a problem if the promoter offers you that life-changing money and you have enough of an experience and awareness level to say, yeah, that probably is not a good idea that he's doing that.
Yeah.
But I bet I can get more and guarantee it's a bad idea. That's not ethical to do that.
All right. Let me get Chris's question in here. He says, what do they do with Braun Breaker? Do you see him doing anything soon?
I think they're shooting him to the main event. I mean, what they're doing now, I think he and Damian Priest can have a good as fuck feud. I think they can do good things because, look, and I'm not trying to shit on Damian Priest. Damian Priest is the other world champion.
Right.
At this point, right? Damian Priest is not in the land of Cody. Damian Priest and that title are probably always going to be a way to figure out where the next franchise is coming from.
Right.
That's a way to test a guy and really say, like, is he good enough to be the world champion where he's the other champion, or is he somebody that can elevate up past that level? So I think you get to Braun and Damian. I don't know how soon, maybe by SummerSlam.
SummerSlam. Yeah.
I could see those two guys with their styles and everything else. I could see a nice, stiff, physical feud, trade the title back and forth
Yeah.
kind of situation.
For the rest of the year. Let them fight the rest of the year.
Yeah, really something that gets those like fans that get excited by work rate and get excited by good matches and stuff. Those guys can do that.
I love Damian Priest. I do.
Oh yeah, Damian Priest is great.
Freaking guy, made his way through here, made his way through Jersey and PA and the Monster Factory and things like that. Like everybody that you and I are associated with, everybody that you and I are associated with has crossed paths with him at one time or another. And so they're watching this with like, oh man, this is great. The moment he cashed in at Mania was like, it's like to them, it was like they were all cashing in. You know what I'm saying? And so good for him. But like you said, that championship, it's not Damian's fault, but that championship will always be subpar to the championship that was on Roman Reigns. And, that championship, they stuck it on Seth for a little while to give it some credibility because he's a former multi-time champion, multi-time tag champion, multi-time intercontinental, he's got some clout. Seth Rollins is definitely a big star. So that they stick the title on him to give it some clout, but then in the manner that he wanted at Mania, Drew McIntyre wins it and then he cashes in the Money in the Bank after CM Punk takes him out or whatever like that. A lot of people,
that's
not necessarily me, but a lot of people don't like that Money in the Bank cash in thing because it automatically, you're automatically finished. You're automatically fighting an uphill battle to prove yourself if you win the title in that manner.
Because you're almost stupid if you don't do it that way, right?
Right.
Yeah, but I think you put those two together. I think you marry them for the rest of the year, like Al said. Let them trade the belt back and forth. They can elevate themselves. They can elevate each other. They can elevate that title. And, by the time we get to the Netflix situation, I think that's something
January.
Your first big, draw, tune in. You got to see what happens next.
You need Braun Breaker. In my opinion, by January, you need Braun Breaker to be the World Heavyweight Champion on Raw.
Yeah, I can see it.
You know what I mean? So that when they open up that first Netflix on Raw, he's the first guy that comes out. And I don't know if he's going to still be feuding with Priest or whoever, but I don't know who comes out to challenge him, but I'm just saying, like, that's the first Raw on Netflix has to be huge. It has to be like almost like the kind of Raw that they do for a celebration or an anniversary of some sort.
It almost has to be, I think, what they talk about is like when they say season premiere, which is, their way of resetting certain things and going, okay, this is a jumping on point. It's got to be a jumping on point.
All right, we're going to end things, Professor, with is TNA dying because they had 500 buys on their last pay-per-view. Last time I checked in, their big huge happening that happened recently is Matt Hardy returned. Is it too late? What's up? Do you know anything about TNA right now? Like, is TNA dying a slow death?
No.
Okay.
Is Anthem trying to sell it?
No.
Is Anthem in danger of selling it? Do you know?
Not that I know of.
So if Anthem isn't going to sell it, it's not dying. TNA will exist as long as Anthem Sports and Entertainment wants them to exist. The correct question is, should TNA still be doing pay-per-view?
Okay.
With 500 buys, I would say probably not. Because I don't see how that is fucking worth it to them to do that.
Yeah.
I don't, with the unless their production costs and the cost of putting on the show is insanely low, because pay-per-view is a notoriously shitty model for being able to make money. This is part of what killed ECW, because you don't get your pay-per-view money like immediately after the show. You can wind up with your pay-per-view money 6 months after that one individual show.
Right.
So I think TNA, again, I don't know their books. They're a private company. They don't release numbers. Really. So we're hearing it's 500 buys. We don't obviously have that from TNA. That somebody leaked that. But I look at that, and that kind of says to me, like, it might be time to put things into a streaming service and then maybe focus on something like a YouTube to maybe create more like promo content, kind of like what WWE does, create more highlight content to try to drive people to, I know they have a subscription service, to drive them to the subscription service and build to those events on the subscription service. But I don't think dying is the right word, because I think it's not going to die unless the corporate parent doesn't want it anymore, because I think they have the corporate welfare from that to keep it going as long as they think it's an asset to them. Or unless the corporation itself dies, because I think there are some things that I hear about the way Anthem's business model works, where they're still focused on having a cable network and things like that, where it's like, bro, if you're not trying to build into streaming and have a streaming presence, if you are relying on cable, I think you're in trouble. I think you're in trouble as a company. So it's either a symptom of, is the court really, if you're going to ask if TNA is dying, you have to look at, well, is Anthem dying? Because there's no indication that Anthem wants to get rid of them. Because Anthem could have gotten rid of them. We know that Scott D'Amore put an offer on the table to buy it, and Anthem rejected it and said no. So that tells me Anthem still thinks this is an asset worth keeping. So if that's the case, TNA can't die unless Anthem dies. So I think the better question is pay-per-view a good thing that TNA should continue to pursue, or should they be focusing more on the subscription service and saying, let's go over there, because with that, you're keeping the money for yourself and you're not having the middleman of the pay-per-view? Or should they try more routes like YouTube, or maybe going to a Fight TV or somebody like that, other streaming services, and saying, hey, we'll license our content to you and try to create that as a revenue stream? But again, I don't know how the logistics of that work. That might be a great question for some of our friends that we know work for promotions that work for Fight TV, to see if they're privy to any kind of numbers or the mechanics or whatever of how those streamers pay. But I would imagine what they probably pay is not on a per show basis. They're probably paying one flat fee that you're getting immediately up front, and then you produce the content. That might be a better model for TNA.
Well, we shall see. So I hope everybody enjoys King of the Ring on Saturday. I hope everybody in our area, Quakertown, Allentown, the Lehigh Valley, Easton, Peaburg, come on down to Quakertown at the Q-Mart this Saturday for the 44th anniversary of 3WA, their big extravaganza. The main event of which has been announced. That is Cody Rhodes will defend his 3WA heavyweight champion against the Roadblock Chad McCoy.
Yep, return match.
So that'll be great. But again, there's other matches. You can go on the 3WA Facebook page and check out the matches that have been announced for that event. That's this Saturday. Doors open at 6 o'clock at the Q-Mart. Come down and hang out with me and the professor. We will be there with the call in commentary. We are honored to do so because, 4 years ago at their 40th anniversary, that was my first time just showing up to a 3WA event, and we got hooked. And then we went down to SWO, and we got hooked there too. So again, support your local indies is what we've always been about. But on this show here on Tuesdays, we talk some mainstream TV stuff. We talk some WWE. We talk some AEW and whatever else is going on in wrestling. So come see us. But next week, we are off for Memorial Day. We hope you all have a great and wonderful and safe Memorial Day with your families over this weekend. Enjoy. And we'll be back with you on Sunday, June the 2nd. That's not this Sunday, but the following Sunday, June the 2nd, with the founder of 3WA, Dino Sana. Professor, you got any parting gifts?
No. I mean, like I say, come out to 3WA this weekend. Let's sell it the hell out. If you can't get there, find out if there's a show in your area that you can get to. Because we need the indies. We need that ecosystem. Yes. Not everybody is going to go get a WWE developmental contract. Certainly nobody is going to get picked up by AEW if they aren't noticed somewhere else. Support your local indies. We certainly have, and we're getting pretty close to seeing some of the guys that we know are some of the best in the world being able to show their stuff. If you're
shout out to Dog Nation, Professor. How about that?
I was just going to say, Dog Nation, if you're familiar with them, they now have a chance to go to South Korea. Then they're going to Japan, I'm reliably told, after the South Korea shot. They will then be, I'm told, at MLW. And hopefully, and I think from there, that's going to be AEW or WWE. And that is a testament to their hard work. And that is a testament to the fans that have come out, have supported them, have followed them, recognized their talent. I've been privileged to call many of their matches on both sides, either a heel or a face. And they are great guys, and they fucking deserve this.
Yes.
And I've been telling everybody who'll listen, you know what? You're going to be blown the fuck away. If you've never seen them before, you're going to be blown away when they make it big and they get out there and they're winning the big tag team championships and whatnot. And that happens because you went and bought your $20 ticket or whatever it is to shows that they were on. You cannot tell me that buying a ticket to an indie show is going to really hurt you that bad, or that for what the price is, you're not going to find at least one match that you really, really enjoyed. Get out there, support this business, support what it's about. We're a couple of fans that got lucky, and you know what? Supporting the business, maybe you'll get lucky too.
Absolutely. Only thing I have to say about Dog Nation is I want to echo what you said. I enjoyed every time I sat next to you and called their matches, but I even more enjoyed announcing them to the ring a couple of times. I was told by both of them in person that they really enjoyed the way I draw out their introduction. They are Dog Nation. They really enjoyed that, and I appreciate those guys. Of course, we're all rooting for you. Everybody, not just me, the professor, but all your fans are rooting for you. Alan, Harrison, if you guys ever do see this show, congrats on all your success, and we're going to keep track of it. And damn it, if you guys end up on either an AEW, I mean, they might make me have to buy an AEW ticket. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
If they end up on I'm going to make Alan buy you and I tickets to AEW so we can see them wrestle, if that's who signs them. But if by some good fortune they get signed by WWE, damn it, if I won't be right there, I will be in the building. I don't know if I'll be ringside, but I'll be in the building, guys. Congrats to all your success and keep it going. We're going to watch what happens to you in Korea, Japan, and wherever else you end up, guys. Go get it, dogs. That's all I got to say about that.
Get it, boys.
Love it.
Get it.
All right. Go get it. All right. For the professor, I'm Big Al, and this was Around the Turnbuckle. We'll see you guys on June the 2nd.
You think you know me? Calculations are correct. When this baby